Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is going to be my lure of the Lush LUFENIA Plus run here with Reigns, Ace, and Setzer. This was a pretty tricky fight just for the sense that you have, I think it's the tightest orb count in any stage I think that I've seen so far. It's 50 turns, and each boss has a 12 million HP. Or 12 million of HP, so this was extremely tricky. I decided to bring these three because I know that I needed to deal as much damage as possible. Here you will see that Sid Reigns, I think, was hitting for like 45. These guys start off with very, very high defense straight out of the gate. I mean, this is just LUFENIA Plus, so here I'm going to go ahead and go with Dive Bomb. And in order to get the orb count to tick up, the only way to do it is to inflict the boss with, or breaking the boss. It'll count up by 4. Now, you don't have to let the boss take a turn for anything, but the thing is that the boss is going to force a turn, so you just can't delay them and do kind of like a no-turn thing, but you can get pretty close. With the bosses, after you take 12 consecutive turns, they're going to move their turn all the way up and do whatever move they currently were going to do. So here what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to try to take them both out of their break. That's why I boosted twice. Then after that, because I wanted to break both of them. Reason being is that I'm trying to save my calls as much as possible. So most of my calls are going to be damage mitigation because I didn't bring any healers. So here with that Toxify, whenever an enemy is targeting all, it's going to do Toxify, and it's going to do HP damage. But since I used Reno's Pyramid, I avoided that first Toxify. Now from here on out, I want to try to take advantage of getting all 11 turns and letting them attack on the 12th turn, so that they don't force their they don't move their attack and force their attack. Because if you take 12 consecutive turns and they move their turn all the way up, it's going to completely cleanse all of their debuffs, even framed ones. So at a certain point, it really doesn't matter for me whether they cleanse or not. In the beginning, I just wanted to take advantage that their defenses weren't so high like they are towards or their break reductions are not as high as they are in the beginning as they are more like towards the end. So eventually, I don't care if they force their turn or not, because with Setzer, it's not going to make a difference if they remove their debuffs. I'm going to still be hitting a lot of time with rainbow numbers anyway. So max brave damage. And Cloud of Darkness, I brought her obviously for the delay as well, because besides doing enough damage to make the orb count tick up, which is by delay, and I don't have any delayers. I mean, Sid Reigns, I believe, does do it with one of his HP attacks after I think he uses LD, but I can't really rely on that. And so it's just really figuring out how to figuring out a couple things: how you're gonna defeat them within 50 turns, how you're gonna tank their HP attacks, and if you're letting them force their turns and you're taking consecutive turns, how are you going to reapply, defense down and things like that if you're not bringing in Setzer? So right now, the orb appears at 79%. So you'll see that B's orb is active now because I hit 79%, and then I probably didn't really need to use Warrior of Light's call there, but they do have an attack where it significantly delays you, and if it delays you and it breaks you, there's a chance that your turn can get moved behind them, and then they're going to just force an HP attack. So that's the reason that I use Warrior of Light right there where I did. Now, one of the goals here is to make sure that once the first wave of fixed dice is up for both Sid Reigns and Ace, then that's when I'm going to go into Cloud of Darkness, and by that time it should be time to start delaying them. You'll see that here B forces the turn, delay or buffs or cleanses all his buffs, but because the whole card turned into a different buff, it cleansed the whole card, but then the blind stud debuff is gonna then be inflicted, because that debuff comes after they cleanse. So that's the kind of the cool thing about Ace 2, and I learned to appreciate Ace more than ever, especially in this match, because I did try to use other characters and it wasn't working out. I couldn't land enough damage to kill him before 50 turns, like Beatrix and things like that. I think at one point I had like Beatrix, Ace, and Setzer, and it could be done. I just probably wasn't using them properly. So here I'm going to go with Cloud of Darkness, start to switch out, just to, because I'm already at 20 turns. I'm almost getting halfway there towards the max turn limit, and they're not even at 50% yet. And because I believe Cloud of Darkness is synergy, that's why you saw her hitting for like 4,000 Brave per hit, when everybody else is hitting for like literally 1. So now this is where I'm going to go ahead and do Dive Bomb, so that way I can go into and burst with Ace and take advantage of all of Cloud of Darkness's damage from her burst effect. So this was going to give me a lot of damage in here. I don't know if you could do it. I haven't seen or haven't looked for runs where people will complete this without a burst. I'm not sure if it can be done. Pretty sure it can maybe be done, because I did have a substantial amount of turns left, which makes me think that you can do this without somebody's burst. But the goal here is to apply, I guess, as many debuffs, because they had just forced their turn, so just taking advantage of that way nobody's hitting for 1. Although it doesn't really increase damage by that much. I think now Ace, when he's not doing rainbow damage, he's doing like 400 or something like that, 600. You can see that like 200. So even then, with all these debuffs, I mean, this is LUFENIA Plus. The defense up is so ridiculous. So right now they have, I think, negative 80% defense down, and that's still not even affecting them really whatsoever. And so if it wasn't for Setzer, I mean, I wouldn't do any damage. You'll see there that the trap is only hitting for 400 to 600 per turn. So here I'm gonna use White Knight, because just kind of like Warrior of Light, 9 is gonna allow me to not take any HP damage when they attack. And since B does have that all attack, he will be using Toxify. So you'll see here they move their turn up, and then now A is going to do Aggravate, but then B is going to do Toxify. There it is. So if it wasn't for my calls, I would have already taken damage. Wouldn't have met the damage HP requirements. And here Cloud of Darkness is going to help me keep the orbs as high as possible, also help with an extreme amount of damage. Now I'm going to decide to not use fixed ice again. So here I'm not taking full advantage of Ace's burst, I guess, effect afterwards. And reason being is because I feel like if I was to use fixed ice here, I'm wasting it, because Cloud of Darkness only has 2 turns left. So you'll see here that Ace ain't doing anything. He's hitting for 1. His trap is hitting for 1. So most of the damage here is just literally coming from Cloud of Darkness, and she's doing the damage, and she's also delaying. So that's the reason I end up bringing her. Once Sid Reigns comes back out, that's when I'm going to be using the rest of my I guess, or Setzer's LD to apply the fixed ice on my team. I think besides Setzer allowing everybody to hit for rainbow, his red card, the fact that it delays, I think also helps out a lot too. To be able to set up like the fact that if an enemy's about to take a turn, I can delay them, and then say bring Sid Reigns' turn up, things like that. So Setzer, there's very few characters that I felt were really worth pulling, that I said like, wow, I'm so glad I pulled for them. And that's Setzer, Sid Reigns, Lightning, and probably Terra. And yeah, I think those 4. And so I think I've used Setzer in almost every single one of my previous runs. So here I ended up summoning just because their turns were about to come up, and I wanted to get Sid Reigns back in here. I wanted to be able to start doing damage with Ace, and so now this is where I will use Dive Bomb, and I'm able to do the rest or most of my damage. So you see here, as soon as you apply the fixed ice, Ace is going to start hitting extremely hard. And that's aside from his off-turn damage from all his traps too. So from here on, it shouldn't be an issue. So I'm hitting for 4 to 500,000, and then I think Sid Reigns, I think, might end up hitting on some of his launches up to like 800 to a mil or something like that. It's the damage that Sid Reigns does just in one move it's really crazy. He's so OP. I think he makes these fights a lot easier. I think if he wasn't in the game, then it would definitely be a lot more challenging. So here I know that their turn is about to come up because they've taken so many consecutive turns, and although they don't have an all attack, as you can see, again, like I said, they do have an attack where it will delay you, and then if they break you, then there's a chance that afterwards with their Brave gain, they'll do a follow-up HP attack, and at this point you can't take any HP damage because I don't have healers, like I said. So that's why I end up using the white, or I think it's Primal Roar from 9. So right there, they're both gonna take a forced turn. And that's the move I was talking about, Tentacle. I think it's Knock or something like that, where it delays you. So if you're being delayed, but then it also breaks, then yeah, that's not good. Then you're gonna get moved back even more. And then you'll probably get hit with an HP attack, and then you have to restart the match again. And this is the cool thing right here about Ace, if you can see, because he does have the fixed dice. His trap is hitting for Rainbow, and then here, it's whenever his burst effect is up, it does that huge move. And if you time that correctly with a pretty much a full fixed dice, and you go into summon, it hits for so much damage. I thought that was a really cool effect. I'm so tempted to green Ace, to be honest with you, after this match, and just knowing, I just saw how when I brought him into the team, how much easier it was to defeat the stages. So again, I learned to appreciate Ace a lot more, and I'm very tempted to again green him, but I'm gonna save my resources for when I really need it. If there's content that I can't clear, then okay, then I'll probably end up greening at that point. There are maybe a few characters that I might green in the future just to green them, like Sephiroth. I'm not sure if he gets Burst Plus in the future, stuff like that. Potentially even Garland. I might do Garland. I might green him. Still debating it, still not sure. But other than that, you could bring Porum, you can bring Agrius, obviously Vayne. You can bring Vayne in here, Cloud of Darkness, Tidus, and you'll also see that the artifacts for me really don't matter. So I don't think artifacts really do much for a lot of characters. But good luck on the stage. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for new content. Also, let me know in the comment section what you think about this mission and who you used to complete it. Check the links in the description for Opera Omnia websites that give you a bunch of helpful information, and I'll see you on the next one.